When a young mother disappears in Columbia, Missouri, investigators use DNA from a tree to help solve the mystery of what happened to her. Mengqi was born and raised in China. At the time of her death, she had been living in the U.S. for about 7 years. In 2014, Mengqi graduated from the University of Missouri with her bachelor's and master's degree in mechanical and aerospace engineering. Mengqi was offered a job by one of her professors, but left after meeting and marrying her husband, Joe Elledge, in 2017. They had a daughter a year later. But shortly after their daughter was born, trouble began to brew. The couple constantly arguing. Mengqi's parents traveled from China, and moved in with their daughter and Joe for the first few months of their baby. Suddenly, the pair were put under pressure. Mengqi wanted her little girl to be raised with the influence of her Chinese culture. Mengqi's parents spoke Chinese to the baby and it caused arguments. Joe started to accuse them of interfering, but his wife was also bearing the burden of his frustrations. The couple started to argue about everything, from how often Mengqi was on her phone, to how loudly Elledge played his video games. There were fights over the household chores, and disagreements about how much of the Chinese language their daughter should learn. By the time their baby turned 1, Mengqi's parents had returned to China. Mengqi spoke with her mother in China every day, so when she missed a day, her mother became concerned, and sent a friend to check on her. That's when Joe admitted his wife was missing, and finally reported her disappearance to police.
Hey Joe. Hi. Hey, it's Officer Joseph. So you said took her purse with her, right?
Yeah.
Phone.
You have phones? Do you want it? It's here.
Joe said that he had woken up to his daughter crying, and discovered that his wife was not at home. Mengqi had only taken her purse, but left behind her phone, car, and computer. Joe was interviewed at the police station. Investigators asked to see his cell phone. They discovered 10 hours of secretly recorded arguments between Joe and Mengqi. The police obtained a warrant for Mengqi's phone, computer and iPad. Joe willingly handed over his cell phone, and the couple's apartment was searched. There was no sign of a struggle or blood found. October 25, 2019, officers arrested Joe but not in connection to his wife's disappearance. Instead, he was arrested on suspicion of physical child abuse. Officers had learned about some bruises on his daughter. Joe admitted that he pinched the baby one day when she was crying. On Joe's cell phone, the police discovered that he had driven out to Lamine River, which he didn't tell the police. Several searches were done. Excavation equipment and dive teams searched the area, but Mengqi's body wasn't found. Despite not being able to locate Mengqi, the prosecutor decided to file first-degree murder charges against Joe Elledge for the death of his wife. After reviewing the audio recordings found on Mengqi's phone, they became convinced that Joe had something to do with his wife's disappearance. In March 2021, 13 months after Mengqi disappeared, a hiker saw a skull in Rock Bridge Park. A woman's purse was found nearby. An ID was found inside, and the remains were identified as Mengqi. Mengqi had been found in a shallow grave. The medical examiner was able to determine that it was a homicide. Mengqi was found with 4 broken ribs, and injury shows that she was killed in a violent confrontation. The prosecution said, DNA from the tree hanging over Mengqi's burial site matched samples from the boots, ultimately linking Joe to that exact location. There were also juniper trees in the area. The investigators were able to match 3 needles from a tree that was just above where Mengqi was found. Joe claimed that he had confronted Mengqi about her messages to this other man. They fought, and she hit her head. He said he left the house, and when he returned, Mengqi was dead. He then put her body in the car and buried her. Joe was found guilty of murder, and in January 2022, he was sentenced to 28 years in prison. A 10-year additional sentence was also added, after Joe was charged with child abuse, child endangerment and domestic assault.